All right, this is BCG Consulting Enterprises. My name is Luis Gelando, and today we have a very special interview with Professor Andrea Vianello. He's just going to be answering a few questions for us. Question 1. What would you say is the main difference between Italian culture and American culture, off the top of your head?
American culture is traditionally based on the idea of meritocracy. The idea that if you work hard and if you pay your dues, you can eventually reach what you want. That's a dream. It's not necessarily the reality, but that kind of dream doesn't really exist in Italy. So the idea is people believe, and I think all the latest polls suggest that that's the majority of the Italians believe that what you need to be able to get a job is connections. So you have to have either parents, relatives, friends in top position, and they will help you to get a job.
On that note, in family, how does family play a role in the Italian culture?
It's huge. It's a huge role. I suspect there is really nothing more important than a family for an Italian, for your average Italian. And the family it's not just the kind of stereotypical idea that we have of the family, the Italian family, the mafia and so on, but the family is also the greatest support system that exists in Italy. In Italy, effectively welfare, it's not as strong as in other countries, and the family often has to help either the young ones while they cannot find jobs, where they are unemployed, or the old ones when they are too old to be able to keep working and they need some support. The family, it's the older relatives take care, do the babysitting, and so on. The family it's an economic unit. The vast majority of the small, medium companies in Italy are family-based. And they have been, until now, the secret of the Italian success, the ability of produce for niche markets, and the ability of changing quickly their production.
Huh. So it's almost a codependence culture. You help family, and they help you.
Yeah, probably you can call it that way. Now, it's not always voluntary. The point is, often there are no alternatives in Italy, simply putting it. It's not that the Italians necessarily like it, that's the way it is.
Just a natural form. And following that, how would you compare the education system in Italy compared to education systems in America?
Well, first of all, I have to say that by now it's 10 years that I'm out of the education system in Italy, and I know that in the last 10 years things have changed a lot. When I graduated, when I got my PhD, the education system in Italy was probably still at a higher level than the American education system. The quality of the education you will get out of high schools, colleges, and so on was probably higher than your average school in the United States. I know that practically what happens is that usually at the level of the PhD school, then Americans catch up with the kind of education you could get in Europe at the time. However, things have changed, and from what my friends tell me, who are still in the system, who teach, the quality of the education in Italy has gone down dramatically.
Well, before the quality had gone down, would you say there's a lot more emphasis on education as opposed to?
Well, it's kind of strange because you would never hear an Italian politician talk about education. It's not one of the hot topics. Well, instead you would hear all the time American politicians talking about education. Education was very elitarian in Italy. When you think that when I graduated, only 6% of the Italians got a college degree compared to around 30% of Americans, we realized to have a college education was an extremely elitarian thing. And so I forgot where were you going with this. always.
Well, no, that actually provides a lot of illumination on the subject. One last question before our next time. You mentioned a bit about politicians and what they discuss. How do Italians view politics?
Politics is considered probably the biggest evil by the Italians in this period, especially. Italians are convinced that the only responsible, or the greatest responsible for all the problems that Italy is going through right now is the politicians, I wouldn't be absolutely so sure. It is true that we have a horrible political class. Berlusconi is the number one example. But it's also true that in many ways they do represent many aspects of the Italians too, because to some degree everybody has the government they deserve, and so the Italians do the same. There is this idea that the politicians have been hijacking the Italian economy, and the Italians talk about all the privileges and all the money that they are able to control and so on. And it is true. It is absolutely true. It is also true that the problem is not just politics. But definitely, I would say that right now, politicians are the number one enemy of the Italians.
Mm. Well, thank you very much.
You've
been a wonderful help. We hope to speak again soon. Again, we are BCG Consulting Enterprises, and we have our pleasure, Professor Andrea Vianello, and have a wonderful evening.
Arrivederci.
Arrivederci.